Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Hard Truth. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, why don't you become a member so you can join in on our fun? All right, today I want to talk about the implications of no blood being found in Brian Koberger's car or his apartment. Okay, that's very important, very critical aspect of this case. So I want to talk to you about that and also the cheek swab situation. All right, so grab that tea, grab that coffee, throw your feet up and relax as we begin our story. According to Dylan's statement, there was one perpetrator that left out of the kitchen back door after leaving Xana and Ethan's room. And so he had to be covered in blood from the victims, and there's no space anywhere in between that for him to have stopped in the bathroom, maybe to wash his hands and face. All right, so when he came out of the house, he was covered in blood. And so now he has to get to his car. She claims he just walked by, but I imagine he was in a rush to get out of there. Once he got to his car, he had to get in there. And once you get in a car with blood, I mean, it's a 100% chance that there's going to be blood all over the car in crevices that you can't even see. So this is the first problem. The blood absence of blood in the car is the first blood problem for the prosecution. According to the PCA, Brian's phone placed him near Blaine at 4:48 a.m. And so if he left the house at 4:20, that leaves a 28-minute window that he could have gone somewhere and taken a shower. He had to know somebody in Moscow to go to their house and take a shower, which means somebody in Moscow knows he did it, if that's the way it happened. I'm just saying it's a 28-minute gap between leaving the house at 4:20 and arriving near Blaine on the highway at 4:48. So it only took 9 minutes to get there. And so he had about 19 minutes to go to somebody's house, go in the bathroom, clean himself up, maybe ask the person to get rid of the murder weapon or hold it for him in case he gets pulled over. And once he changes clothes and clean up, hit the road again. And then once he got on the highway, there was very little time, according to the PCA timeline, for him to get from Blaine back to his apartment on the route that they gave and the time that they gave. So the timeline from Blaine to his apartment is also a problem. But right now, I want to talk about this scenario that I just showed you right here. We can agree that Brian had to either stop somewhere to clean up or he drove around the long route with everything on him from the crime scene, one or the other, okay? And so if he drove without stopping anywhere, there would have been something in his car. There's no way. If he stopped somewhere, it had to be in Moscow to take the shower. And that means somebody in Moscow knows exactly who he is, what he did, you know. And so why would this guy, with his level of intelligence, go commit a crime by himself and then take the risk of involving somebody else in it that wasn't with him during the crime as a co-conspirator that could just tell on him? All right, I just can't see that happening. And then he would have had to, it had to be somebody he really trusted. And from what everybody said about him, he didn't have a lot of friends in Washington or Pullman. He was trying to make friends. So who did he have that he could confide in enough to arrive at their home, blood soaked, take a shower, and possibly hide or ask them to discard a murder weapon? Who? Okay, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Assuming Brian made it home without stopping anywhere to change his clothes or get cleaned up, then there should be blood in his apartment, even if it's in the crevices of his shower, the bathroom sink, his carpet, somewhere he touched something, even around his front door of his apartment, the stairs leading up to his apartment. There's got to be some blood evidence there, and there's not. Okay? So there's a problem there for the prosecution. No blood in his car and no blood in his apartment is huge. Absolutely huge. Because no matter how many phone ping analyses and no matter how much you say there's DNA on a sheath in that apartment, there needs to be some evidence that this man engaged in that level of violence. Okay? And there isn't any. So what do you think about it? What do you think about this one? Since you are the absolute best members and subscribers, I have a small bonus, a food for thought that I want you to think about, and maybe we can make this a talking point. I don't know about you, but I expected when Brian Koberger was arrested, I expected them to swab his cheek immediately and confirm that it was his DNA on this knife sheath. Okay? But what happened? All right? We didn't hear about the cheek swab until after the protective order was filed, to where they really don't have to prove anything. Okay? As long as they don't have to produce evidence of the DNA testing, they can say they found whatever they want to. So now that there's a protective order that has to be challenged and a judge has to make a decision, now we're hearing about this cheek swab. Okay? They're saying that the DNA is not going to be entered into court, but they're telling us about this cheek swab to put the nail in the coffin as far as his DNA. And the reason they're able to do that is because the protective order will prevent them from ever having to produce any evidence to support these claims. Howard Bloom said that when the DNA was sent to the Idaho State Lab the first time, there was nothing on it. He didn't say that there was no match or whatever. He said there was nothing at all on the sheath. Okay, and so this is a most likely true. And he's not the only one that knows. If he knew, who else knew? So this is why they can't bring the DNA to court, because somebody has inside information about the DNA on the sheath. Okay, so okay, you can't bring it to trial. Bloom busted you out. Okay, and other people know that will bust you out for a few dollars, and so you can't bring it to trial, but you can put it in the minds of the media and the public that you have it when you don't.